Alright, with just under a week left. Oh, you know, I didn't do my intro. Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video, and with just under a week left for the Primal Demon beatdown battle. We're going to go into Inferno 3 now, using 2.5 teams that can reliably get it done. If we look at the schedule, Primal Demon is still relatively new, ish, March, quote-unquote, right? Now it's September. But we've had 3 blue stacking teams come out in between then and now. Commander, Prosper, and Ogre's Pride. So we have one team that can get it done. We have another team that can get it done. And we have one team that, I'm just gonna gloss over it real fast. There's a story behind it. So today we're going to be using mainly Commander and Ogre's Pride to do Inferno 3. And let's just go ahead and get started with our disclaimer about the Prosper fucking team. Okay, so we're not going to do a lot with this clip. I used the Prosper team. I used Maribel. And that's the only part of the Prosper team I use. Because obviously Earth and Fire is not going to do jack shit here. And the Prosper team is a crit-focused team. Maribel's stacking Weakness Strike, which for Earth and Fire characters means nothing to this stage because they want you to use space. So we made drastic changes. We brought Guy, Tempest League Gobta, Octagram Lumi. We're nuking with Space Violet because she's a blue orb changer, and she's space, and she's AOE, and she's physical. And then we've got Fount of Wisdom Rimuru for his physical buff and his orb change. So Guy, orb change. Gobta, orb change. Violet, orb change. Rimuru, orb change. Lumi, permanent buffs. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It sucks. So, this clip is 32, almost 33 minutes long. Why is that? Well, because I had to go to fucking turn 33. I had to go further than that. I had to go turn 37. So we will not be sitting here for 37 fucking turns. I'd never want to do this again. I'm probably just going to upload this entire clip as its own video and talk about very random things, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, technically, we can do it with this team. I really don't recommend it, though, unless you really hate yourself and have nothing better to do with your fucking life. Alright, the first real team that we're going to show is the Commander team. I did have to make a slight adjustment, though, because we're going to use Commander Renard, we're going to use Commander Shizu, and Hinata, and Glenda, and then Octagram Lumi because she's really a god of AoE teams, but we had to bring in Primal Demon Diablo, and we needed that because he is the only AoE space physical character on Commander that would get the Shizu buffs, except, well, you have Albedo, but she's magic. So don't use Albedo. But I did try to nuke using just Shizu and Glenda, and then instead of bringing Diablo, I brought Fount of Wisdom Albus for Pierce and more green orb changing. Yeah, it didn't work. It did not do nearly. I think Shizu did like 900k and Glenda did like 700k because she's got type advantages. We're getting the weakness strike stacks with Renard on Glenda, but not Shizu. So we lacked an incredible amount of DPS. So we had to make a small change to cheat with Diablo, who technically is also on Commander, so it's not really cheating, is it? So, as a reminder, because this is a beatdown battle that came out months and months ago, I already have an Inferno 3 video for it, so that video will be linked in the description. I'm only using teams that came out after Primal Demon, because if there were a team that could clear it, I used it 6 months ago when the beatdown originally came out. So, go check that out if you need to. But here, we're going to just bring Diablo in. That way we can leave Glenda in the back, so that next turn, in case we need to, we could, use the orb changes and then bring her in. Bringing Diablo makes this a lot easier because of the hand that naturally gets changed to full greens from Dino. We can just use Diablo to just get around that. Not bringing him it made it a really gigantic hassle. I did have a few runs where I was able to convert around it, but we just didn't have enough damage. And unfortunately, I don't have enough points to do a 5 send of blues here, which is kind of unfortunate. But now we brought Glenda in. We've got Lumi for the first 3 turns protection gauge. Both Glenda and Diablo have Blanc and Jean underneath, or Violet and Jean underneath them, so they get protection gauge on turn 3. So we're going to get a lot of extra gauge here, just from all 3 of those traits kicking in. And you can see after these attacks and the nerf, so we're shy of Renard, and now we're above Renard. So excellent, we got another stack. This hand, not a big deal, because we have the power of full orange and green converts between Shizu and Diablo. So now we just take out Octagram Lumi. We have enough time that we can stack efficiently with her and get everything, because we need 3 stacks of the AoE and 4 stacks of the alt damage buff. We can still get that, even though we're about to be binded in. So we're going to let this turn ride. We've got our orange converter, our green converter, and our alt swapper. So we're not really in any danger of not having a good hand. And then we ended up not really needing the green converter at all. But I do need the alt swap and I do need the orange. So it was a good call to bring these 3 units in. It's just that turn 4, we're missing the little bit of extra protection gauge we get from Hinata's trait, but it's inconsequential. So the important thing is that we're getting a lot of Diablo orbs, because we do need to get his EX alt, which is helped by Octagram Lumi's second skill, the AoE buff, which also gives 50% extra alt gauge to all orbs. So even full hands of blues will give you a lot of alt gauge if you get full hands of blues every single turn, and a lot of them for one character. Now, the damage the stage does, if you don't have a healer and you don't have really strong units, it's hefty, because Daggerel does an AoE, and then Dino and Frey do single targets, and they could really, really hate somebody and just double single target alt and almost kill them. So could be in danger there. But alt swap, there's the full hand of greens that Dino converts. Now we just use Diablo to say, yeah, go fuck yourself. And then we'll bring Lumi in and we'll start stacking with her other skills. And that's pretty much the rest of the fight. 3 more turns of this. Just alt swap, orb change, buff with Lumi, and then swap in and out, stack with Renard. The fact that we are getting weakness strike and alt resistance down on 2 characters makes this a lot better. You don't really want a synergy here, because they have, I think, on turn 8, 100% synergy resistance. It's really not great to use synergy. So we're not going to use Glenda's buff, which is synergy for physical allies. We're not going to use that. We're going to use the Diablo buff, because it's got guaranteed pierce on it. We're going to use the Shizu buff, because it's 100% physical buff for commander allies, which Diablo is technically also doing with his buff. But I do want to use Shizu's buff, because it also has that 70% EX buff, which is going to help Diablo, and his skill doesn't have that. So we're going to double up on the physical buffs, but we're still getting guaranteed pierce and the 7% EX alt buff. And then Commander Hinata will be buffing everybody by 120% on their alts. And then when you combine that with the 80% from Octagram Lumi, that's 270% alt damage for Diablo in total, because we've got 80 permanent, 120 from Hinata, and then we've got the the 70%. Oh, wow, my brain totally just shut down there. The 70% additional from Shizu. Oh my god. This is the first video I've recorded today. I don't know why my brain just shit itself on me. But, oh well. Turn 7. Ready to go. Just need 1 orb change. We, I believe, only need 1 more stack of Lumi after this, which we're going to have enough points because we're going to cap out right here. We're spreading the damage so everyone is relatively equal, so that when we do our AoE nukes, hopefully they all die from them. And now, EX alt with Diablo, double alt with Glenda. Not that they're going to live to see the second alt. But now we'll use the Shizu buff and Renard, or in whatever order. The fact that Renard only really matters for Diablo and Glenda, so we don't really care who the third unit is. So physical buff, 7% alt buff with Shizu. We'll do the last stack with Lumi, and then we'll bring Hinata in and use her buff, and Diablo's buff, and the orb change, because we have enough points for it. And notice we are not using the Glenda buff, because that would nerf our damage. And now we'll do our last stack of Renard, and then we'll send Glenda first, and then Diablo. Or maybe, should we have done Diablo first and then Glenda? Oh well. Glenda, 572k, not great. Diablo, almost 2 million, and is enough to kill Frey and Dino, but not Dagger because he has more HP, but the Glenda follow-up orbs take care of him anyways. So that is the commander team with the prime substitution in it. That can clear Primal Demon EX3, or Inferno 3. Let's move on to Ogre's Pride. Alright. Ogre's Pride, the full power of Ogre, well, mostly full power, minus one very useless character. Benimaru, Soe, really good. Blanc, need the triple alt swap, the weakness strike will help. The synergy resistance we're already getting from Omiji, so it's not a big deal from Blanc, but I mean, it's going to activate anyways. Elmesia, 100% alt resistance down, 70% alt damage for fire characters, and, well, fire and earth, but we're only nuking with one fire character. Momiji has the guaranteed pierce, has this fire attack, has guaranteed synergy, and the synergy resistance down. Now, I know we didn't want a synergy with the commander team because it didn't really have the power output to bypass it, but if we use the full 300 points in one turn, we can then use Soe to give us 100% synergy power, which will offset the buff that the defensive buff that the enemies have, so we can actually do good damage with it. And then Violet for the orb change and her magic buff. So turn 1, you could use either Soe or Violet's orb change. It really doesn't matter, they're both going to change 2 oranges. We're going to mainly use Soe as a green converter from here on out. Because Violet's got the 2 oranges and 1 green, we need someone to handle dedicated green orbs, which thankfully Soe, because he's so versatile, he can do, and quite well actually. So we do have Violet, she's space, so she does have a little bit of type advantage, but we're not gaining anything from Benimaru as far as regular orb damage is concerned, because he's only stacking alt damage, and then on turn 8 he gives you that 100% pierce power, which is really strong, but up until that point, your normal orbs are just going to continue to do the same amounts of damage, or less, depending on how much defense they decide to give themselves. But here, we only have enough points to use 1 convert, so we're going to use Violet, so turn 2 could have been a little bit better. Oh well, but I didn't really feel like sitting here and RNGing for too much longer, because I think this clip was about an hour and a half. And we didn't get a perfect run either, because we nuked on turn 9 with this team, because I didn't have enough points to actually use everything on turn 8, so we had to push. But here, now we have 121 points, so now we can use Violet, now we can have Soe come in and cover that one last orange orb. So having them together does make it so you're almost out of danger for most things. The only thing we can't really deal with is the turn after the bind, where all the orbs get converted to greens, because Soe's only doing 2, and Violet's only going to do 1. So if you only have 1 alt, so that's 1 guaranteed blue, and then you have 3 more that are changed, that's 4. You're missing a little bit there. So the full green turn is going to be an issue, unless you have like 3 alts, and then you're going to be okay. We're going to have 2 alts here, so that leaves us with 4 orbs to convert, which we can definitely not do still. So we're going to have to just burn a turn out, unfortunately, which we would have had a good hand right there, right? It's 2 greens and 2 blues, and then 2 alts we would have converted to blues anyways. Yeah, too bad. Deal with it. If we had had a 3rd alt sitting in the back, it would have been okay, except for it would have been a Blanc orb. So yeah, we're going to take both of them out, and we're just going to burn it, because I don't want to waste points converting these alts when we're not even going to do anything with blues anyways. And now we get naturally 2 extra green orbs, so we get a full hand of green, regardless. Excellent. You see how much gauge that gave me? Oh, you didn't see any difference? That's because there was no difference. Funny. Very, very funny. There was I think it's 100% nerf on greens. It's impactful. But here, no matter what, we can get around this. So we've got 250 points. Let's use the orb changes in a different order. There we go. We'll use Violet's first, and then we'll use Soe. Because Soe could have changed like 2 oranges, and that would have left an orange and 2 greens, and then Violet wouldn't have been able to do that. So always better to use Violet first and let Soe clean up. We'll bring our 2 alts in, we'll alt swap them away, we'll use Benimaru, get more and more stacks. Except here, because I'm running the alt gauge charm on Benimaru, so I can try and get alts quicker, so I can maybe avoid the whole problem of the turn 4 full green hand, which I couldn't do anyways. I'm not going to have a lot of skill points. I would normally run a skill point charm with this team, so that on turn 8 I would guarantee myself that we would have enough points to use everything and actually kill on turn 8. But not here, because we got to use 2 orb changes that are both kind of expensive, because we got 2 greens and an orange. We got a good guy hand, not a good violet hand. So boom. I think I need to have like 140 points or something on this run to get cap, and we are, after this, not going to be at 140 points. So we're going to be a bit shy, and not at the 400 total. We're very close, 381, but I do need all 400 points. So instead of trying to half-assed nuke on turn 8 and maybe not kill and waste 10 minutes of my time, I'm just going to push a turn, and we'll just get another 19 skill points. So yeah, we'll just send these blue orbs. We'll get a double stack of Benimaru, which we already had technically, but more importantly, we get now 450 because we're pushing an extra turn. And we're not, I mean, if you're a lower tier player with less gear and less dupes, you might be in danger of dying from these ults. Thankfully, we survive those and the follow-up, and now we're ready to go. So we use Elmezia's ult buff, because it doesn't matter where you are. You can be in the back, it doesn't matter. And then we'll swap her out, the only orb, but we have to swap her out because we need the Violet buff, and we need Soe's buff. So we'll use Violet, we'll use the 2 Momiji skills. That puts us at the 300 skill points using a turn, so now we can use the full power of Soe, 70% attack, and 100% synergy power. And now Benimaru, 2 more stacks of ult damage, but the 100% pierce power. And then Momiji ends up doing 3.7 million damage, which is really good. So there are the 2.5 blue focus teams that have come out after the Primal Demon meta that can clear Inferno 3. Again, the previous video from 6 months ago will be linked in the video description. That way you can check it out if you need to and you can't run these specific teams. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I will see you all later.